Greetings, everybody. I'm Jeremiah.
That's him.
She's Vania.
That's me. Welcome to another episode of the Beard and Curls podcast, where culture and creativity meets consciousness.
And if you're new here, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite platform for the latest, most exciting conversations anywhere.
You ready?
I'm ready. Cue that intro.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, Margot Bingham.
Karen Parsons.
You're now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in.
You are now tuned in
to Beard and Curls.
Beard and Curls.
Beard and Curls.
Beard and Curls.
Beard and Curls. Keep it locked.
Today's guest is an independent Christian recording artist. She's been writing, recording, and singing Christian music for over 20 years.
She writes and records her own music and hopes to touch as many lives as she can with the gospel of Jesus Christ through her songs and testimony. We're talking about none other than Athena Sorensen.
Athena, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel very excited today to share with you guys.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you're here. So let's jump right into it. Now, you've been writing, recording, and singing Christian music for over 20 years now. So can you tell us about when you first developed your love for music?
Well, I was raised in a Christian home, and so we always had worship. And my mom especially listened to gospel and Christian music in the car the most. So I was exposed to music as a little girl, really just from worship at home, and I just loved music right from the get-go. My mom even noticed when I was a baby, when she would sing to me, that I would really react and get excited. And so, yeah, just in the home from my parents, going to church and just listening to music all the time. Even my dad listened to music constantly. So it was just anywhere we went, in the car, at home, I was always, music was just a part of our lives.
And which musician inspired you as a kid?
Well, I would have to say, of all the people, Mariah Carey was the number one. Even though I wasn't really introduced to her until I was maybe about 11 or 12 years old. But before her, it was people like the Clark sisters, Amy Grant, Sandy Patty, Shirley Caesar. Those are the people my mom listened to. So, but when I saw Mariah, I think she was on Arsenio Hall. This was a long time ago. And when I saw her with all this curly hair like mine, standing up there singing, I was just like, oh my goodness, who is this woman? She has hair like me. And it was just, I was drawn to her because of how she looked. And then her voice, of course, is unparalleled. So, yeah, just fell in love with her. And
yeah, I got to say, old school Mariah is nice. It's classic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I actually did meet her, too. She had a record signing years ago on one of her albums, and I actually met her in person. So that was really cool. Yeah.
Nice.
That's nice. So how does the creative process look like when you create an album or, like when you write your songs from beginning to end?
So for me, being creative, it just runs in my blood. So for me, writing a song, it can start for me in different ways. Now, there's some ways that I will write a song is I'll just get an idea. Let's say I'm having my worship and I'll study something in the Bible, or there's a Bible verse or something will inspire me. And then I will just start to write a song about it. Then the melody will come to me and I'll just be sitting there, writing, humming the tune out loud, etc. Another way that I write, which I've been doing a lot recently, is my producer will send me a track, just music. It doesn't have lyrics. It doesn't have really anything to it. And then I will listen to it and then it will inspire me with the melody and the words. It's a really neat process because it'll just start from nothing. Then I'll have a title, then I'll have a verse, then I'll have a chorus, and then I'll have a bridge. And then I'll, give it to my producer and say, hey, what can we do with this? Then he'll take it and he'll make the track around what I've created. And then it's a process of, I don't really like, this line, I'll take that out. And sometimes I can spend months just working on one song, or even years. That's happened. Just, going back and forth with it and singing it. And then once you get into the studio, then it's a whole other thing from it just being on paper. Now you have to perform it and express it. So the whole process, it's a beautiful process, really, to me, just pouring out your heart and trying to express something. That's kind of how it works with me. So,
No,
yeah.
definitely. I can imagine. Do you like schedule time to work on your songs?
I feel like I get inspired a lot just driving down the street, and then a song will come to me and I'll have to, I record it on my phone. But then there are times, yes, where I'm like, okay, I want to write a song about this, and I will stop what I'm doing and sit down and write a song. I'll notice though, if I get too busy during the week, I'm like, I need to do some music. And then I will make myself stop and try to focus more on the music and try to write something or even just sing something I've already written. But I think most of it, it's just inspired in the moment. So.
Okay, understandable. A lot of people may not know this about you, but I know you went public with this years ago. At one point, you were diagnosed with alopecia, which is an autoimmune disease. Can you kind of walk us through what that experience was like?
Yes. So what alopecia areata is, like you said, an autoimmune disease, and it does not have a cure. So it's been around for a while and they have not figured out a way to cure it. And I believe that I was born with it. I didn't know most of my life. And then after I got married to my husband, we hadn't been married very long. One night I started to notice that my scalp was itching really bad. And so I went to the shower to wash my hair because I thought, well, maybe, my hair is dirty or something. And as I was in the shower, I noticed that clumps of my hair were starting to fall down to my feet. And of course, it scared me half to death. And so I got out of the shower and wrapped my head in a towel. And then I went to go see a doctor. And I thought it was just maybe something with shampoo that I had used, or, I would have never thought that it was going to be an autoimmune thing. So I went to the doctor and he had to take a biopsy of my scalp, which they actually cut a piece of your scalp out, and which was just very traumatic. And he just dropped it in a cup next to me, and it was just horrible. And he said, I think you have this autoimmune disease called alopecia areata. And I had never heard of that before. I at the time couldn't even pronounce it. And when he said it, I thought, oh, you're wrong. I'm thinking to myself, I don't have an autoimmune disease. I'm going to be fine. So I went home, and a few weeks later, they called me and they confirmed that I had this autoimmune disease and that there was nothing they could do for me. So I went back to the office. They gave me a steroid cream to put on my scalp, and they said that I was having inflammation and that the steroid cream would try to help it. But I noticed that when I would use the cream, when I would rub it on my head that was then bald by then, I would just have little pieces of any hair that was trying to grow back would come off on my hand. And so I thought, I don't know if I should use this steroid cream. So it was basically a whole year of just not having hair. I had to start wearing a wig. And I had, I was a newlywed. I felt ashamed, like I had done something to deserve it. What did I do to myself? I didn't feel attractive anymore. I was hiding from people. I didn't want anyone to know that this had happened to me. And it was just a terrible, horrible experience. I mean, I would never wish this on my worst enemy. It was just the most horrible thing that a woman especially could ever go through. But during that time, I began to really get into God's word, and I was studying, all the miracle stories of how Jesus would heal people. And there was the story in Mark chapter 5, verse 25, I believe, of the woman with the issue of blood. And she was sick for 12 years, and she pressed through the crowd and touched the hem of his robe. And he healed her. His virtue shot through her body and healed her. And I would read that story over and over again. And I would just pray, Lord, if you could do the same thing for me, please heal me. And I remember just crying out to him. And then one day, see, what I would do is I would take a shower, and then I would put like conditioner on my scalp. I put on my wig cap, put my wig on, and then I would wipe the steam off the mirror. So I never looked at myself. I didn't, I didn't want to see myself. So one day something said, you need to wipe the steam off the mirror before you put your wig on. So I wiped the steam off the mirror and I looked in the mirror and I had like this much hair on my head. And I was like, oh my goodness, my hair's growing back. But the doctor had told me that it was going to fall out again. So he said it might grow back. It most likely won't. But if it does, it'll fall out again. So I was like, I have hair, but oh no, it's going to fall out again. So I just kept praying and praying. And sure enough, it just got longer and longer. And it has never fallen out since that happened. It has continued to grow. At one point, before I had kids, it was down past my waist. So, and it just grew and grew and grew. And then eventually the doctor said that my hair was growing like the double amount of a normal person's hair growth, because it had gone from nothing to past my shoulder in like, I don't remember, it was like 6 months or less than a year or something like that. And so the Lord had blessed me. He healed me. And that really is the number one reason why I have a music ministry now, is because of what he's done for me. And that's what I write songs about. That's why I sing Christian music. And that's the whole backbone of my ministry.
Such a powerful, powerful testimony.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing all of that with us.
And when did it happen? Like, how long ago?
It was about year 2001. So it's been a while. So the Lord has blessed me. I mean, I had all this fear that it was going to fall out again because of what the doctor had told me, but it hasn't fallen out. So,
Okay.
So I really believe that God truly worked a miracle and he healed me.
Wow. And that's what I was going to actually ask you about, because I think at the outset you said that it's an incurable disease. And so from your perspective, obviously it's been a while. So do you feel like you've been completely cured from this?
Yes, I do. I do.
Wow.
And I actually had a blood test done to test autoimmunity, and it's not there.
Wow. Wow. This is what we're talking about, a walking, living, breathing miracle.
Yes,
Wow.
God still works miracles. People don't believe it. They think, oh, you know, that was stuff that happened in Bible times, but hello, I'm here. And
Nice.
if anything, God, I believe that God still works miracles.
And how has going public with your testimony inspired others?
Well, I have really seen just this amazing response. To tell you the truth, almost every place where I have shared my testimony and sung songs, there has been someone there who either has alopecia or some kind of autoimmune disease, or they knew someone who had alopecia. I mean, that's literally, it got to that point where everywhere I went, and I would just have these people come up to me and say, you know, one lady had it. She was wearing a wig, standing right in front of me, and was crying. And like, I never knew, you know, that, you know, the Lord had healed someone of this. One time there was a young man who was a young teenager. He had it to the whole back of his head. His hair was gone. He was wearing a hat. His mom came and brought him up to me, and she made him turn around and so I could see. And he was trying, you know, he was very shy and trying to hide it. And he was telling me, thank you for sharing your story. And then, of course, just people who have different illnesses have come up to me and said, you know, I have this autoimmune thing and, you know, I'm struggling with it. And you really blessed me. Thank you for sharing your story. And so, I mean, I didn't expect all of that when I was going through it. But I think deep in my heart, I knew that God had a reason for it. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew, okay, Lord, I know you're going to do something with this. And I didn't understand it at the time. But now that I've gone through it and all the chances I've had to share my story and the reaction that I've gotten from people, now I can see that, you know, maybe God let me go through this for a reason so that I could bless people and give them some hope.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you said that. I was actually going to follow up on that. What do you think this experience has taught you about yourself or just about life in general?
Really just that I'm stronger than I thought I was. You know, I'm very shy. I grew up in a mixed home. I never really felt like I fit in with anybody. You know, in high school and things, I look different than everyone. You know, my dad's African American. My mom, she's mixed, but she looks white. So wherever I went, people would, what are you? They would always say that to me. And, you know, just a very shy, kind of keep to myself kind of person. I never thought that I could endure a disease. You know, I never thought that I would be a singer who could stand on the stage. But really what it's just taught me is that God loves us and he sees us in those deepest, darkest moments. And, you know, that he can take the least likely person like me, shy and all of that, and take them and use them to have a ministry to reach people and, you know, do his will. It's just been, like I said, when I say I'm the least likely person, you would have had to know me as a little girl, just terrified of the whole world and everyone and everything. So here I am today, you know, doing all these things for the Lord that I never expected.
Wow. Wow. Such a powerful testimony. Again, thank you for sharing that with us. Obviously, we talked at the outset about, doing music for over 20 years. So now you have another album coming out in January called Right There With Me. So what are you most excited about for this coming album?
I'm so excited. Well, not just that I want people to hear the songs, because, you know, for me, an album is like birthing a child. Literally, it's just this long process, putting the songs together, praying over it. But really, I'm excited to see what God is going to do with the songs, because, you know, it was another crisis experience for me for writing this album. And so when I released the single earlier this year on Facebook, I put it out and I just got this huge response from people telling me thank you. And one lady said it was like a revival for her. And so it's just exciting to see what God's going to do, because, you know, I go through a lot of things, and writing my songs is like my fruit. You know, the Bible talks about bearing fruit. So my fruit is my songs, but I never know how people are going to receive them. But in my heart, I hope that they'll receive them well and that they will bless them. And, you know, I want my music to be something that, you know, if you're going through something, you're going to put my music on to help you through whatever it is. And so I don't know, I'm really excited. I want people to hear the songs. I want to be able to talk to them about why I wrote them and just the whole process of it. And it's just exciting because, you know, it's like I said, it's like a new baby being born. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I mean, I've been working on this album for actually a couple of years now. So I'm just waiting.
Oh, we're excited for it. We're excited for it.
So what's different about this album compared to your previous albums?
This one, I'm glad you asked me that, because this one, it's the sound of it. So this one has more of a worship sound. I mean, I'm not saying my other songs weren't worship, but they were more like solos. I guess you could say it's more like me singing a song at you. Whereas the songs on this album, I really feel like people can sing them too. I didn't intentionally make it this way. Really, it was just what I was going through. These were the songs that were pouring out of me, literally. And then my producer said, you know, you have this new sound going on here. He was like, this is different than what you've done before. But, you know, it is a little scary when you put out something and, you know, how are people going to receive this new sound from me? But, you know, I'm more of like a big ballad singer. And so not so much of the big ballad sound on here, but it's just the message in the songs, the heart of the songs is so strong to me. To me, it's the most personal, the most powerful album I've ever written. So, yes. So that's where I'm just really excited for people because of everything that's going on in the world right now with just, you know, the COVID and all this. I really feel like the songs I've written are very relevant for now and that people need to hear these songs.
Awesome. Awesome. And you said the album is dropping on January 15th?
Yes, and that's my birthday. I've been scooting it back because when COVID happened, me and my producer, we just had to kind of shift our life a little bit. So kind of pushing it back, trying to finish, you know, do the finishing touches. And then I said, oh, I'm not going to release it during Christmas. There's too much going on. So I thought January. And then I thought, hey, my birthday's January 15th. It's like a birthday present to myself. So
Right. That's actually my mother's birthday too. So I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
All right. So now you have a private Facebook group called GLEW. So what can you tell us about this group actually?
Yes, so Glue is a private women's Facebook group. So I actually started Glue a couple of years ago. And what it is, it's just for women, Christian women, to have a place where they can just connect with each other. I do interviews on there. I share devotionals. we'll have like cooking recipes, talk about fashion, and it's all from a godly perspective. People will go on there and post prayer requests, and I made it private. So, if we have like a sensitive women's topic, that women can feel free to comment and post things without, the whole world seeing it. Like I had a guest talk about hormones and things like that. But yeah, like the Lord just kind of dropped it in my lap. I was sitting at the doctor's office and I was looking at a magazine and I was like, oh, we need to have a Christian women's magazine. And then I was like, well, why don't I start something like this? And then I was like, what will I call it? And then the word glue just popped into my head. And then I was like, well, what does that stand for? And then it was like, God loves every woman. It was like that fast. And I was wow, Lord, okay. And I'm like taking notes on my phone, but I didn't actually start the group for a little while. But yeah, so I mean, if people are interested in being on there, they can find the link on my website. But yeah, it's a good little group of ladies, and it's just a place for, I can share a lot of my creativity and art and things like that, music wise, but really just there to kind of like what you guys are doing, just to interview people and let people, women particularly, share their stories of how God has worked miracles in their lives, and just a place where people can feel safe and, be blessed. So, yeah.
I think it's very powerful, especially for this year that has been so unpredictable.
Yes.
So I think it's nice that these women had the opportunity to have each other. Like, did you see like a difference in how people express themselves this year?
Yes, I've had more interest this year, even more people posting things and prayer requests, and just even the reaction when I would post something or post an interview or post a devotional, definitely getting more people who are, interested or liking it or saying something. Yeah, I just think it's been a really rough time for a lot of us. We're in the house more and not able to go out as much as we wanted to, especially when everything first got shut down. That was a really hard time. So yeah, I've definitely noticed that there has been a little more interest since the whole COVID-19.
Got it. And has the group grown over time, or how has that part been?
Yes, it has grown, because the really neat thing is whenever I interview someone, I tell them we can invite people to join the group, if they want to see your interview, or, just invite people. And so a lot of people go on there and just invite. They're just inviting. So I think I started out with like 9 members, and then it went to 50, and then it went up to 100. And I was like, wow, that's more than I expected. And I think we have like 187 people on there now. So I mean, that's more than I ever thought I would have. So I'm very thankful.
Wow, that's quite a blessing. I love it. And are you guys planning to take the meetings offline eventually, or is it just going to be primarily online?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know my wildest dream for it, my wildest dream for it is, of course, I would love to have like a TV studio with a real show that's on TV. And, if the Lord ever wants to work that out, but who knows? You never know what God has in store. It's just, wherever the Lord takes it.
I mean, you've accomplished so much already, and you thought you weren't able to do that yet. Like, you sing on a stage, you got healed, you write music. So I think having that show is definitely something that can happen. Nothing is impossible.
Yes, I believe that too.
So with everything that you've been blessed with, all the things that you've overcome in your life, what's next for you, Athena? What can we expect from you going forward?
Yeah, so definitely the album. I'll always be putting out records, so as long as I have breath in my lungs. But something else I'm working on is a book, actually. I'm working on a book to share my story. There's so much that I've been through in my life that I've never shared. And so, of course, the whole thing with my alopecia will be in there. Everything that I went through to write this last album, and some other experiences, just kind of taking people from birth to where I am now, of all the things that I've gone through. So I've been working on a book for quite a while. It's a long process, but I'm hoping that I'll have that out soon. And so, because every time I share my testimony, people want it in a book. I've actually gotten an overwhelming request to have, my alopecia story particularly written in a book. So I'm working on that as much as I can, between motherhood and all the other things I do. Yeah. So a book, and then even children's books. I've been working on some children's books. And so, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of dreams and plans, and those are just a few of them.
Oh, that's exciting that you have a lot of things that you want to achieve, like always having that goal and always being in tune with God for him to kind of like inspire you, like what you should
Yes.
prioritize, because it seems like you have a lot of things that you want to do, right? So
Yes, I do.
it's like, what comes first and what comes
I know.
second? Or should you start everything at the same time? No, maybe, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
it's sometimes hard when you have so many ideas.
That's true. Yeah, because I'm an artistic person, so I just always have a million things in my head at one time, and I'm always making lists and crossing stuff off, and then so but praying about it always, because everything is in God's timing. So just like this, the invitation to be on your show, it just sent me the message, and I was like, yes, I'd love to do that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So I'm glad. It was definitely divine, how it all came together. So.
Yes, I agree.
We're definitely happy to have you on the show. And I think one thing that you said I really like is that, you're sharing your experience to give people hope. And I think hope gives people life, because when you lose hope, then you have nothing to look forward to. And then you're not motivated anymore. But as long as there is hope, there is a future, there is motivation, there is something that you can look forward to and take it one step at a time, because a lot of people go through hard times that we may not imagine, like how hard it is. Like, you went through it, you're able to share it with others, and they can share it with other people too. So I think that one word that you said, hope, is very, very meaningful and powerful. So Athena, where can someone find you online?
So it's my name, athenasorensen.com. And then that's pretty much my handle for everything. So Facebook, Athena Sorensen Music. Twitter, it's Athena Sorensen. I think it's the same for my Instagram as well. But yes, if they want to find all those links, just go to my website, athenasorensen.com, and everything is on there.
Well, Athena, whenever you do write that book, let us know. We'd love to help you promote that, get the word out there.
Okay.
We'll certainly be doing the same with the upcoming album as well.
Yes, right there with me. Just like she was saying, there's a lot of songs on there about having hope and how Jesus is right there with us. That's the whole point of the album, is for people to know that no matter what you're going through, Jesus is right there with you. So, yes.
Well, Athena, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for continuing to be an inspiration. And we sincerely wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's our show for today.
Thanks again for tuning in.
And as always, like it or not, Beard and Curls is the new his and hers.